everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Beatrice Ajayi. I'm an artist based in Scotland and I love to share what it is that I do here on my YouTube channel. So I wanted to get straight into what I'm going to share with you guys today, and it's to do with a really good deep sketchbook dive to show you what I've been doing and where I see myself getting to through this process of exploration and really thinking about why I do art, what I'm trying to achieve from what I'm doing, and trying to go back and look at some other work that really inspired me prior to this point where I am right now in my journey. So that's what I've been doing, and that's what I want to share with you guys today. So we're going to look at some of my most recent sketchbooks and the way that I'm approaching sketchbooks compared to how I used to approach sketchbooks. So let's take a look at what I've been up to. So I'm going to start with some of the ways I've been approaching my sketchbooks of late. And weeks ago, months ago, I have been trying to get my realism closer to what my subject matters and my subject interests are. So I've been going on to like Unsplash, which is a free software for getting references. And also you could use Pixabay as well. I'm not sure if there's any other software that you could use that have free references that you can use to sketch and to practice. So I use those. If you have any other suggestions of other references that you can use that are free, copyright free, please do put it down in the comments. But I have been working on my sketching for a while now, trying to really get my teeth in to getting used to drawing certain subjects. I always go back to my drawing when I feel like my painting is becoming stale or is stalling. So I spent quite a lot of time, for example, working on my hummingbirds, because I really love hummingbirds references, and really trying to spend time looking at them, sketching them, getting into a place where I get used to how they move. I'm trying to do some other subjects as well. I'm going to do more on my cats. This was just a little bit that I put in here into my sketchbook as well, just to try and see if I could observe and get some detail in. But yeah, still focusing here on my hummingbird still. And then let's see this one as well. So this is a smaller sketchbook I got so I can just sit on my sofa. Even though I use these as well, I still will sit down and just use these sketchbooks. But I wanted something smaller earlier this year, and these are pencil drawings, so I don't know how much you can see of them. But sketching through different topics that I really wanted to focus on, like my flowers. And I'm going to change your position so that you can see this a bit better on my table. Yeah, I've been going through like my sketchbooks here and trying to draw different subject matters that I feel I don't have enough strength in. Like, I really love flowers. I love using flowers in my artwork. So I spent a whole time of trying to get the feel for flowers and working through all that and really trying to get the details, focusing on areas that I know my strengths are not very precise, and really just looking at the lines and trying to get interested in the detail without making it stressful for myself, just seeing. And then also in between all of that is adding my own ideas of what I could do with the characters. So here, like having things hanging off these tags, but taking my time to really find detail, posture, the way that they look, profile or face on, and at different points always kind of like adding my own take on things. So I have been sketching in my sketchbooks, which I didn't used to do this. I didn't used to kind of focus on a topic and then really spend a lot of time just repetitively the same subject matter one after the other, and going in and digging into that. And so different ideas come up from all the different sketches I've been doing. So sometimes it will be actually an inspiration of what I've been doing. So here I was starting to understand that I always feel like I want to say something in my paintings. I want to say something with words. So I've been doing this gestural writing into my artwork. There's a name for it which I remembered and I forgot, but it's not that it's specific words, but it's the whole, it's almost like a journaling for the mind. So it's not that there's words, but you are gesturing. It's like mark making as well, but I love the way it looks in the actual sketches. So I really like this one here. I don't know if I'm blurred. Let me just focus that in. But I love this page, and added my little bees as well. So which is to do with the flowers, really getting in, sketching my flower detail and trying to get better at that. So I'll come back to the flower one again because I go back into that because I really want to raise the bar as to where my mind thinks flowers should go. So ideas here of what I can do with these characters that I've been researching and drawing. So having the birds, you know, and the antlers. I've seen other artists actually do that with their artwork, but I'm always trying to think of a different way to do it because there is the idea I always have for having holes in my characters' heads, and I've been trying to figure out how to do that with it without it looking morbid or looking strange. So I'm still working on that. So this was another one that I did with the birds flying around. So you can see I was drawing birds, and then now I'm adding that into also the stags I was drawing. And so yeah, as I said, drawing is where I go back to start the process over again whenever I think that I am becoming stagnant in things. So I got these sketchbooks, as I said, just to draw, to get into characters that I want to research, and I want to delve into, so flowers, butterflies, bees. I want to get into more range of wildlife as well at some point. So this was me starting to work on that idea here. This one with coloring pencils, and this jaguar here as well. I love thinking about jaguars because my parents being originally from Nigeria, we have jaguars, and I really want to add that into my artwork as well. So I really love this page with the butterfly and the flowers here. So when I'm drawing, I really love the way that my flowers look. But when I get into painting, I feel like I lose this kind of realism or gestural marks, the way it looks. And so I'm trying to do my drawings more and more, and hopefully by the time I get into paint, I am hoping I'll be able to replicate this with the paint. So that's something I'll come up to where I've started actually drawing with the paint as well. And I wanted to do like landscapes as well because I'm really inspired by my Scottish landscapes here. So I really wanted to start adding that into my pieces as well. So portraiture is another thing. I've not even discussed this, but I come back to this where I love sketching, and then I've gone back to the trying to paint this actual portraits as well. So that is where, and so you can see the flowers, and I really love when I'm observing the flowers, like looking at my reference, they look so much better. So that's something I'm having to pay attention to, that when I have a reference in front of me, it makes my actual drawings way better. It makes it a lot better. So I need to remember that for myself. And I love the way I did this spread with the bird. Again, like I said, I love having birds, and I've got a little bee here, her face, the flowers. I've tried to put in the landscape in here. I've got the writing here as well, the gestural marks. And so that's where it is. This is how I want to bring everything together. I want to have a reason for the way that I am putting my subject matters together. it's like a form of consolidation, as I keep bringing out occasionally, trying to bring all of my artwork together. So let's see. So yeah, I added a bit of color on this one and tried to work on the flower here, trying to put in the shadows. And it's really good to have this to fall back on, little, well, thumbnails of sorts, practicing, thinking about how I would lay out some of my characters and things. But I feel like when I rush things, it's not as smooth as I would like it to be. So yeah, different ideas for things in here as well. And trying to get back into it because I'd have a gap in between. So trying to work on the flowers. My landscape here, I really love the way these trees are. So thinking of bringing in trees like this, remembering that I love pattern. So trying to bring in marks in the background and maybe thinking that that could happen in my landscapes, abstracted landscapes. So yeah, and I got back in this one, I went back to drawing with a pen, a biro pen, which I hadn't done for a long time. And I love drawing with biro pens. So that was a little hint as to something that was gonna come back later on, which is what I'm doing now. I'm doing a lot of sketches with my biro pen. I stopped using the biro pen some time ago because I found that when I use varnish on it, it would bleed on my paintings. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to keep doing that, but I'm gonna try and figure out a way to make it work so that it's part of the painting, because I really love sketching with it, and it draws on like so many different substances. I mean, what do I want to say? Mediums. Yeah, that's it. It draws on so many different mediums. So I need to be able to use it. So I need to work that out. So more sketches. I'm trying to think, right? I will skip the rest of this because these are other illustrated works. But yeah, working on that whole aspect of drawing. I then went on to skipping onto like doing a lot of floral. So I'm just gonna move that out of the way. So I think I mentioned some time ago that I bought 3 different sketchbooks, and this was part of why I did that. I wanted to start digging in to be able to go from one sketchbook to another, working as I went. So I had a point where I'll show to the side here, where I was working on different separate sheets of large paper, like A3 size paper. But then I suddenly realized, why can't I just do that in my sketchbook? So at this point, I wasn't even doing what I go on to do, which is like putting the paint on and closing the page and using my roller and making the actual paint splodges in the pages. So I wasn't doing that at this point. At this point, I was using different tools like my catalyst wedge to make, paint patterns on it. But I'd gone back to trying to focus on my flowers and trying to now use the paint on my flowers and trying to work out how I would go about making these flowers a similar result to my pencil drawings. And so that's what this exploration was, and getting back into the pencil drawings again, trying to get the details and really understand what that whole shadow area is about, because it really throws me off. I still feel like I don't quite understand how it works. Like, to do it with paint is still complicated to me. So I did a whole bunch of sketches like you can see here, and just working away, trying to get the whole information in my head. Did some of these random painting, like kind of peonies, and trying to attempt roses. Just simply trying to draw again with the paint and seeing how that looks. Trying to trick my mind into a way of painting and drawing at the same time. So is that negative space, I feel, is the issue for me. How to get the negative space to work so that you can see the actual form of the flower. So that's what I am working on still. So here I've thrown in a portrait. I've got the lines where we write on the face, the kind of marks made there and here. I have my bird. flower, as you can see. Nothing in the background really, it's very abstracted, but I would love to put in like a landscape of some sort, maybe with a bothy, just to give that emphasis on it being Scotland. But starting to add colors, looking at color as well at this point. So here, like I'm saying, I started just squirting, and I'll show examples of that, putting the paint on and then closing the pages and using my roller, and then basically getting these results of the paint transferring from one side to the other and having the colors on the page and working as a whole painting for this whole page. So it became landscape instead of just being portrait. Like, you know, I mean, it can work on its own individually, but it can also work together because the colors cross over. So that was kind of an idea that I got early on here, and I've used going forward in other work that I've been doing. Here I went back to drawing again and trying to plan a layout and the mark making across the page. This was a very deliberate one, bringing in symbolism I've had for a long time in my art, which is like thinking of rain and thinking of tears in the one kind of collective group. So and then trying to add actual writing, like trying to think about the background of how I view, you know, art, life, having to be brave in what we do. Here I've got a sketch and I've got be courageous. So I'm trying to start being very deliberate in my conversation with my artwork. So here I have another sketch of a portrait, taking that across, and it's just a sketch. So some birds in here, I put 2 birds in instead of just one. I've put my flowers there and some other little flowers. Butterfly, I really like that butterfly actually. And another one here in a different pose. And let's see, more sketches. This was what I was talking about, trying to make the bird not look strange in her head. So starting to try that out, not liking it at this moment in time, and wondering if when I use color, if there's a way for me to make this work. There might be, but this was me trying to use a hummingbird, and I'm not really sure how that would look, but it's an idea. This is an ideas book, and before I do anything final, I'm trying to try out what it is that I could do with things. So this one is Be Strong. I tried it, I think, going downwards, and I didn't like that, so I changed it to that way. And still, again, adding the gestural writing in different parts, and trying to start adding the characters, the subject matters. Here there's no flower, but I just focus on a butterfly, the portrait, and the bird. So yeah, a lot of sketches, as you can see. Here I have the character, portrait side facing, bird, landscape. So landscape, butterfly here, and adding trees to like different parts of this landscape, a little bothy as well in here. So trying to bring my ideas together, trying out all the different things I have in mind. That's what this has been. And then here I added a flower in this one, trying to bring in geometric shapes as well, because I have that mindset to add some kind of bold marks, abstracted marks as well, that are, kind of, what would I say, sharp forms, not organic. And this was the hair working its way across the page. So a lot of drawing has been going on. This was like just having a kind of hexagonal shape here or something like that and being empty. Not sure that worked, but looking at like fields of hay, maybe bees, writing some landscape here. So used this full page for this, and gestural horses as well. And what else on this? And then a bird, which is a bee eater, supposed to be. That's what I've written here. But yeah, so bothy landscape. One way I thought of doing this, as I said, trying out all my different ideas. Here I wanted to work on going into the color use here and skin tone. So that was what I practiced here, skin tone a little bit, to see if I could get the colors from what I have around, like the colors I have, the paints I have, and just trying to work on shadow areas and yeah, being able to tell what it was that I was painting. And then trying to be gentle as well, because I can be quite heavy with my paint. So just trying to draw with the paint here. And I didn't want to use like watercolor. I wanted to work with acrylic because that's what I love working with the most. So that was what I did here. And then going back, so that was me looking at skin tones. Then I always change it back and just wanting to paint and not trying to think too much about the color, but just expressing the character and drawing out the character. And there can be reflections. So I'm very free with using multiple colors on a face and just trying to play around with that. So I would draw that in and then start working on different areas and trying to keep colors with themselves. Like maybe if there were warm colors and cool colors, trying to think a little bit about that so that the shadows were different and then lighter areas of reflection. But it's not that it was set in stone, it was just to get the contrast. So if this area was going to be dark, this would be light, and working that way as well. So played with this, and I really love the way that this went. And this was one of many different paintings that now kicked out of my sticking the pages together. So as I said, I was putting pages together and rolling the roller over them. I think I'll show you what I mean by that. So I was using these. So I think I have an example of wanted to show you what I meant when I'm talking about that. So if I can find a free page. So these are examples of what I've been doing, which is putting colors and then rolling over them. So let's see, because this is blues. I'm gonna put a couple of other colors to show you the difference. So if I I would do this. Sometimes I'd pick areas that don't have a color in it already. Then I think this is the fluorescent one I've been using. I didn't think I'd be using fluorescent paint, but this has shown me how much fun they actually are. So I have been using fluorescent paint. So I basically do this on a page, and then I would put it back over and use this roller. I've had this since I was at uni. This is over 20 years old. And I'd say I'm using it more than I ever did, to be honest, in this last few weeks. And then I would just go over like this, being very careful not to squirt it out the sides if it's possible. And obviously, if this page was precious, you'd be making sure that you didn't get any of the paint from the edges onto it. So I've had to balance that out and see what I'm happy with. So look at the difference now. So that has now brightened this page up a little bit, and then you can add more colors. Let me see. I also used like this because what I've been thinking is I'm going to be getting some more of these actually, which are like tester pop paints, and you can add to areas that haven't got any of the paint on it. So just go in and do all this. Sometimes you're mixing it beside cooler colors, so you know they go together. That's all the thinking that I've been doing recently, is like sometimes you can have them beside colors that are similar. You could leave some white if you wanted at this stage as well. You could do stencil, there's so many things. And put it back over, roll it again. So this is part of what I've been doing as well, is the process. And the process has really been helping me have that escapism, to not think too much about what it is that I'm making, but to allow for unique adventures and be able to accept possibilities. So I'm trying to think what else I could bring in here that could add another dynamic. You can bring metallic paint in, but I like this. I could put white on it as well if I wanted to change it a bit. But basically I would do this and then let that dry. So I'd have a whole bunch of sketchbooks that would be drying, and that's basically how I created the backgrounds, as I said before starting to paint. And that is where the adventure has gone, where I have backgrounds like this, and I could change this because it's a bit dulled, so I could add some other colors. I already have quite a bit of sometimes I do it on the other side as well. I'm trying to think what other color I could add into this, but I'll just leave that for now and not get too complicated. So this is what I was saying, where you could have something precious on this side and you don't want to get it messy. So I'm going to turn it over this way so that if anything comes off, it can go onto this background. But I don't think it will, it'll be fine. So using this kind of like a jelly plate idea, really. That's what's going on here. I could add turquoise if I can find my turquoise paint. Let me just have a look for it, because I feel like something bright. Good. Oh, my teal color. So just add that somewhere. Let's see, that bit's quite dark. And if it is too much in one area, see, I just get my tools. Actually, I have one right here that I can use. I'll use my wedge here and just move it around to different points. You can do all sorts of patterns that you want to spread over. If it starts trying to dry a little bit as well, you can spritz it. So the process has also been helping me prepare a little bit as to what kind of tools I should have around me to make it more much easier. So I'll roll this again and show you the difference. So you get a lot of different backgrounds. You can do layer over layer in the sketchbook. Well, this is an A4 size. So it is adding to my process. It's making things quicker for me because backgrounds are a thing I've been struggling with. So you can see that this little sketchbook here transferred a little bit and gave a different design here. And it's just going back and forth, building the layers as well. So it's just a lot of fun. I might add one more. And then you can mix white in here as well, actually. Let's see. If I can get this open. I am looking for my, oh yeah, I'll just use this one. I was looking for my palette knife, but I will use this wedge again. And where can I put this white? I can mix it in because it's still a bit wet. So mix it in and move it to this corner. So you start to do things that you didn't think you would do because of the interaction in this way. And you can have it on both sides. A bit more white here. So I'm trying not to think too much about the fact that it could be trying to dry. You could put some slowing medium into it so that it doesn't dry that quickly, but because I want to work, I'm working with acrylic here and I want to work with it quite quickly, but I want it to transfer at least. I will, like I said, use the side that I am not finding precious. You could always put paper over it as well, actually. You have to be careful. The reason I'm spritzing this is because as it starts to dry, it starts to stick as well. So it's good to spritz it so you don't start tearing your pages sooner than you need to. You could always do these and take them out and put them onto a panel, tape them onto a panel and continue to paint from there. But you could do so many layers with this. So that's what the white has done. Not much change. There's a little bit of a tear there that's stuck together here, but it's a lot brighter than it was. And then you would go in with whatever you wanted to do to paint, which I'll show examples of those processes. But yeah, so all this is where we now go to painting over to create the portraits, bringing in all the elements together now and having a background. So also in these sketchbooks, I've been dealing with my backgrounds as well. So let's see. So these are different backgrounds. They do stick together, but I'm not being precious about them because I want to be able to be free in my sketchbook. So I'm getting some lovely designs. Like this has gold on it, so it's quite reflective. Don't know if you can see that there. Quite reflective, and yeah, and you can paint over it. So a lot of sticking pages, just another one that I can make brighter again. And yeah, that's where I am with this one. I'm gonna leave this open. So as we started another batch already. So yeah, as I said, I've been sketching through, trying out different layouts with my pencils, and then getting into working in the sketchbook over the layers that I've put. So painting the portraits, trying to take my time, enjoying the process from where I've started all those sketches, drawing a lot of portraits as well, to now starting to try and think about how I would embed that in, you know, from the drawing stage to the painting. So that's what is going on right now. It's that whole process. And you saw this, I think, one of the classes I had earlier last month, maybe. So this was another, for going back to practicing with the painting of the flowers, trying to see what it looked like in the paint format. Backgrounds, as I said, more drawings and more flowers, practicing, trying to use different colors to maybe bring out the way that the flower is. Here I have now started consolidating everything sort of with the flower and the portrait, and still trying to add scratches for the writing as well. So that is the journey. This is where I'm trying to go, trying to get to the point of the painting. And trying to understand what I'm trying to say, if I can say trying enough times. But yeah, really loving the way that the flower has come out here. This is like, I'm really happy with this one. And I know that I could spend more time really bringing it out. So enjoying the way that I'm trying to use the color and looking at the different marks as well because of overlaying the pages. Here I did that with the page, but then I've gone into the drawing again. So as I said, sometimes I get into the painting, then I'm like, ooh, I need to go back and fine tune my drawing. So that's what's happening here. But even before I get into that one, actually, because this is a more recent one, but I don't know if I've shown this already. No, I haven't. So I went back to sketching some more again, and these are like this month, not November, this is December, going back into sketching, as I said. So I started these before going back into my bigger sketchbook. So trying to get the faces again, looking at bringing in the different elements. here I did a bit of collage. I glued this on and then sketched a little bit over that one. And I'm trying to think if I looked at any references for these. I think I wanted to start getting free of just sketching by myself without necessarily looking at references. So trying to bring in all the different characters that I like to bring in. Also added a bit of still life here because I do a bit of still life as well. So my lemons and a cup of tea vase that's similar to the one I have here in my house actually. And these are eucalyptus, just simplified portraits, flowers. I love my trees, so I was trying to bring in a landscape in here somehow. So you can see that here on this side. So this is drawn with a color pencil. Trying to see where I'll add the mark making with this scribble writing and working with just pencil here. And that's what I was doing, just working with pencil before I jumped fully into deciding to use pen as well. I've been using a lot of coloring pencils to draw and I really love it because you can see it a lot easier, and also it's making it exciting because I feel like I'm using color and I'm learning what the color is doing. I'm adding flowers, working on the shadows. So there's a lot of things happening all at once. Here was like chaos. I did a bit more of a collage and then just penciled over that. And if I wanted to make it darker, I'd use a dark, or I could use my Barrow pen and work over this. Not feeling that anything is unsavable, whatever that means, or being happy with understanding the process. That's part of what's going on in all of this as well, because I thought I should still be able to make some kind of marks that makes it recognizable for what I'm trying to do. So I need to be able to work over different surfaces and not be afraid to do that, because I can add more. I can add acrylics over this, and yeah, working more on the portraits again, trying to just keep on drawing and not be scared, looking at the hair, everything, just imagining the flow if it was on my painting. How would that work? What would that look like? What are my characters supposed to be looking like? So here I'm doing a lot of the noses. I'm not sure about this nose, and here's an example that I'm saying about the bird, because I've always had this about, it's like a symbiotic relationship. So a lot of animals are my characters. I always put this birds in. So if you ever saw any of my older work, and I didn't always put it in kids or in people, but it's that thing of where for me it's like our thoughts, and that is a very close thing to us. So it's like hidden, but it's also visible because we can share our thoughts. So I think that's what that bird is supposed to symbolize, but putting it on the kind of paintings I want to do, it's going to be interesting to see. So I need to get to what it is I'm seeing visually to be able to fully replicate that in a way that people can digest it. So this is just more mark making from extra paint, and I've not done anything else in here, but yeah, deep dive into my sketchbook process of late. And so yeah, as I was saying, sketching onto these now painted backgrounds. And so I spent yesterday painting this one, and I really love the way that it looks. The result is really interesting. I'll put the process for this just to here on the side for you to see how far I got to this stage. I might end up doing some more. I don't know. I want to leave it alone because I'm trying not to ruin some of the things that I'm doing in here so that I can see how far I got. And now went back into drawing again. So after creating some more of these ones, actually, let's see if I can find them. Because I did paint some more. I'm just trying to see, yeah. Okay, so I've got some more here that I worked on again. So similar to this one, and I worked on these as well, on those backgrounds, like I said. So going over those backgrounds, being able to paint and cohesively see what it is that I painted over that background is what my next challenge is. I can have the background, but then can I speak through it? Can I tell a story through it? And this is where currently I am. I think I showed this in my last video. So this was actually even before all of these. But I really love the way the colors were with this one. It's beautiful. It's like one of my favorite. But here I wasn't trying to go mainly with the same skin tone, I think. I'm learning a lot about the colors that I use as well and how I applied it. It's like layers, but it's just it's so yummy. So here it's that same idea to build the layers, but I wasn't using the other colors I had over the page because I need to get some more of those. But I wanted to use up the paints I have and before I buy new ones. So yeah, just trying to figure out how to make the portrait show up and layer in all the different like fluorescent paints, the pinks, trying to make the skin very dynamic and not to cover up too much of the actual, other paints that are on the page. So I didn't record these ones, but I just wanted to have wanted to have the time doing them myself. So yeah, I really love this one. But yeah, that's where I was. And then I went back into sketching again. And this is where I think I am currently, is trying to bring the elements together again and see where I go with that. So probably my next paintings are gonna be a bit more dynamic like this, not just a portrait, but we'll have the different characters and subject matter in the actual painting. But I really like the way that I'm bringing in my landscape in the background here a little bit, like a little bit of fields here. And also this bird and this tree. So I'm trying to bring in the different things, leaves that I have added in the past. Maybe the landscape could be in our hair actually here. That would be interesting. Maybe I should write that down so I don't forget it. So, landscape in here. Because this is, I think the thing is, the more that I'm working in my sketchbook, I am getting ideas. And that is the point of why I'm doing this. In the doing, then the ideas come out, because as you're doing all the drawing and everything, something will inspire you from that. So let's see here. I really love this bird as well. Let's see if I can get closer on our head here. That is really cute. I love it. And so because of that, I then added in this next drawing, let me go out a bit. Right, okay. So in this next drawing, I ended up basically adding a bird here, some shadow in here. And there's another bird up here, and something that I used to do in some of my older drawings was I had elements, basically I had an empress. And in her world, she had a throne that had she had a throne. So I could go across here and she had a throne that was always made out of tree branches and all sorts of stuff. Like a big tree actually was made out of. So I love that idea. Let's just do some of that. And she would sit on that throne, and it was a beautiful throne. And it used to have these little drawers that always had things. And I always thought of them as having special knickknacks in those thrones. So this is kind of where I am right now, where I want to go back to what I used to draw as a child, and I want to start building those layers into my painting and have a story, and then make it interesting as well for myself, or maybe even relative for today. So landscape here. hills going in. And you can have maybe clouds of some sort. I'll figure it out up here. And actually have her throne that I used to do. That would be nice. That's just come out of me recording and doing this, by the way. Because I've been struggling to figure out how to tie the two together, how to bring in my past artwork into this. So this would be great to do something like this, to add all this to it. It's amazing that that's come out of that. So I need to sketch that in. And she usually sits on a throne, and her throne has like a cushion that she sits on, and then I would, it needs to be very organic, and going up, and she'd have lots of different cushions that she could lean against. Like there was always a round one, and yeah, now I could probably do it like a squarish one. You know, like the ones for a lumbar cushion. And you could do just different designs on it. I mean, the way that I think about things now is so much different. So yeah, I'm gonna look into how to do this. But I really love the way this is looking already. That is awesome. So it's gonna be great. That has brought another memory for me. And as I said, there used to be drawers that she had things hidden in. So that was what this was, is what I'm trying to say. I've gone around a very long way of doing this, but this is like one of those drawers. That's what I was trying to do in her hair. And then I thought about this bird putting a key in it, like something that is a conversation going on. So we'll see where I go with this. I just wanted to share what it is I've been working on recently in this vlog. I know I've been discussing topics to do with expectations, limitations, but part of the way creatively for me to break out of all those expectations and limitations and is to just work into what my conversation is, my story, where I've come from in the background in my creative journey to what I'm doing now. And I at different points I come across this idea that all the stuff that's come before is relevant for today, and I feel like I can articulate, I can actually discuss those topics a lot better now in my current work. I can deliver them a lot better now. And maybe I have more of an understanding what I was trying to do then and how it applies and is linked into my character and my conversation when it comes to creativity and how I can apply that now. So I think it is the time to start looking back to look forward, if that means anything. Looking back to look forward. Yeah, and I can't wait because it is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm going to get on with sketching, painting, doing whatever comes to mind. But this has been fun because of discussing this with you guys. I've remembered something from my past that I did not even think was an idea to put into this, but was sparked off by being brave enough to put this in her hair. And then this conversation starting and remembering that the Empress is usually on her throne, but I feel like she needs to come out and engage with people now. So there is conversation. There is more going on. There is more conversation going on, and gesturally, I will put those conversations in. And I'm remembering I used to do this writing sideways, like down. I was copying kind of a Japanese style was what my friend said. I didn't know it was kind of leaning towards the Japanese style. But yeah. I'm gonna get to this and stop being quiet on here. But thank you for joining me. I will see you guys in the next vlog. This is Christmas time. I'm trying to make sure that I get these out to you guys in good time. And as I said, I've been releasing these on Sundays and not on the Wednesdays anymore. And I'm seeing better traction on them. I'm seeing more viewings on them, which I'm grateful for. And I'm grateful for all the new subscribers as well. Thank you so much. But if you have anything to share with me, please do let me know. Please do put them in the comments, or you can also go onto my website. The details will be at this corner here. And I will see you guys next week. But stay safe and have an awesome week. Bye for now. Bye.